Hey guys, it's your host Amber Viola, and welcome to another episode of Politics But Make It Fashion. How are you guys doing? So, some updates for me. This week, I had to drive down to the Philadelphia VA hospital for a few different appointments. Y'all know my stomach be doing a lot. And so I went down there, had a pretty good appointment. It was a crazy to be at like another VA hospital. It was so much bigger than the one here in Wilkes-Barre. And I wanted to take Minnie somewhere fun afterwards, so I surprised her with a trip to the Philadelphia Zoo. The zoo was actually like right down the street from the VA hospital. It was her first time ever being at a zoo. I don't actually really like zoos because I feel like the animals are unhappy, they don't have enough space, and they deserve to be like free and in the wild. Obviously, there's like differences when you have endangered animals that need to be protected or animals that are taken from somewhere that's not like an appropriate living habitat for them and everything. So I understand there's like a lot of nuance, but needless to say, it's just not my favorite thing. I feel bad for the animals. But she's been wanting to go. So we went, and they do offer military discount, which was really nice because it's low-key expensive. So for me, it was 20, and for her, it was 15. Kids under 2 are free, and then over 12, I believe you pay adult prices for them to come in, which is wild to me. But yeah, so we had a good time. I definitely would recommend going. Also, you can use your military discount within the park for like food and drinks and stuff, and for like the store. I think my biggest complaint would be, one, a lot of things were a la carte. So, like, she really wanted to feed the giraffes. Her favorite animal is the giraffe. So, it was like $6 to be able to feed the giraffe, which is fine. But I'm the type of person, I would rather have everything included altogether than for me to have to pay a la carte with specific things. The other thing I didn't like was, and they're fixing it, so they're building a restaurant, but there was no like restaurant to go sit down and eat in. And I really wanted to kind of like sit down and eat, be out of the sun, be out of the heat, away from bugs, and eat and then be able to leave. So I would like to go back and see what it's like with the restaurant and everything, but we had a really, really great time. So I want to talk about Trump's VP pick. So I know his VP pick from a book called Hillbilly Elegy, and he wrote this book, and it's about his life in. He was going between Ohio and Kentucky. His name is J.D. Vance, and he talks about basically growing up in Appalachia and being poor and how, like the coal mines weren't there anymore. He talks about babies drinking Mountain Dew in their bottles, not having food, how there's no jobs, and all that kind of stuff like that. So he is a U.S. Senator from Ohio. He was a never Trump guy, which to me, it seems odd because you'll see why. He was a never Trump guy. He said in 2016, if you voted for Trump, you were an idiot, and that Trump was America's Hitler. He also said Trump was cultural heroin. He did end up voting for Trump in 2020, and Trump said in 2022, Vance is kissing my ass and wants my support so bad. So that's why I think whenever you switch sides or change whatever and it's not genuine and it's literally just to like get what you want, he wanted support while he was running for senator, and he wanted Trump support for like keeping him in office for re-elections, fundraising. So you needed to support Trump, and Trump knew that and basically called him a bitch. So he believes in supporting Ukraine 100% and still sending them money. He said that Biden personally is sending fentanyl from Mexico to the Midwest to kill people's children, and that he's personally doing it because obviously it's intentional. He believes that there's currently a cultural war going on, and that part of his like attack on the cultural war is he wants to criminalize gender-affirming care. He wants to ban federal mask mandates, no affirmative action, no DEI. He supports a federal ban on abortion, and he believes in defying the Supreme Court and told Trump that he should defy the Supreme Court after the election. So that is his new VP pick. Obviously, a lot of us have been paying attention to the news recently if we hadn't because of Trump's assassination attempt. So there was a person who had passed away at his rally named Corey Compitor. He was 50 years old. He was shot and killed at the rally. Trump says that he was shot by a bullet, but official reports state that his teleprompter was hit and that he was hit with a shard of glass on his ear. Now, the day after, like, he would be assassinated, he went golfing, and he did not have nothing on his ear. His ear was not red. It was not black and blue. It didn't look like there was a piece missing at all from his ear, not even a little bit. Then, a couple days later at the RNC, he now got this big old bandage, and his crazy followers have bandages on their ears. Okay. So everything is already starting to turn into a mess. Obviously, we knew this was going to be political. There's a lot of people saying that it looks like it was staged and that it wasn't real. And to me, it's just wild how some things can be fake news, and Republicans want to say that it's all fake. Every news is fake. It's all a witch hunt. But when you say something is fake, that's not fake news. It's real news that he got shot, but everything else is fake news. I believe that when I was watching this, unless Biden does something, unless Democrats really get together and work hard, that this sealed election. Because that shot of him with his fist in the air, that was a marketing money shot right there. This whole incident validates his people because they truly believed it was a witch hunt. They believed everybody was out to get him. And that, he was just out there all on his own trying to help America. And now he gets attempted. And they're calling it he's a hero. He's so strong, all of this stuff. And it just basically makes them feel like they were right about everything. For me, it's just, who does this help? Who does an assassination attempt help? Because it doesn't help Democrats. It didn't help Biden. It only helps Trump and his side. And so now Trump did authorize a GoFundMe account for the families and anybody who was injured at the rally. He said it was to help support them. And it has already raised, there was 2,000 donations and stuff as soon as it was set up that night. So his campaign finance director, Meredith O'Rourke, has been running the campaign for him. The first night, like I said, there was already 2,000 donations and $170,000 had been raised. I don't know how much is raised currently right now. I didn't look to go check. That's great. I hope, nobody deserves to die just trying to go see somebody speak at a rally, whether we agree with them or not. The FBI identified the 20-year-old shooter as Thomas Matthew Crooks of Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. The suspect was shot and killed by the Secret Service seconds after he fired shots at the former president. And they haven't determined yet what the motive for the attack is. So state records show that Crooks was a registered Republican. The upcoming election would be the first time he would be voting in a presidential election. When he was 17 years old, he did make a $15 donation to Act Blue, which is a political action committee that raises money for left-leaning and Democratic politicians. And that was according to the 2021 Federal Election Commission. The donation was earmarked for the Progressive Turnout Project, a national group that rallies Democratic votes. The shooter was also in a BlackRock ad that went viral after he was named the would-be assassin. The ad was pulled. It's weird that he was in an ad in something high profile, like publicly, before he was the shooter. So that is according to Reuters News. I'm sure that more things are going to come out from that. I know right now there's a bunch of congressional investigations about the Secret Service's role in this would-be assassination and whether they could have prevented or not. So the shooter was on a roof, and that roof was not checked, and there was nobody on that roof. Now, it was a little bit far away, but it still should have been checked, and they should have checked the roof because he was on the roof. And the building was apparently swept by the Secret Service. Other questions I have, is why was he even allowed to stand up and have his hand in the air if this was an active shooter situation? And I feel like they did not protect him very well after the fact, and that's why a lot of people are saying it looks staged, because if you don't know how many shooters there are, you don't know if the shooter's dead yet, why would you let him stand up? Why didn't they not immediately get him to the floor and drag him off stage? Why was he allowed to do all that? Even when they were getting in the car, why was he allowed to still be waving to the crowd, sticking his head above the window? It just seemed really dangerous. Also, the one female Secret Service agent who could not holster her weapon, y'all, what? What was it? Now, obviously, the stakes are high. They're being shot at. They don't know where it's coming from. They don't know if the situation is over or not. So I understand your nerves are on high. You're probably a wreck on the inside. The thing about it is, you train for these things, and it's supposed to be muscle memory. There was no muscle memory with her trying to put her gun in her holster. At all, not even a little bit. So y'all know it got real sexist real fast, and people are saying that women should not be in the Secret Service or anything like that. But a lot of the people, they need to find another job. They need to find another job because it didn't look good for anybody. RFK now has Secret Service protection, and I do remember a while ago he was talking about how he requested Secret Service protection, and they said no. I don't know if that's Biden said no, the Secret Service said no. I do know that up until a certain point, once you become the official nominee, you do get Secret Service protection because you're now officially running for office. So a lot of times the other candidates who are running won't have Secret Service protection, and or will have to hire their own protection using their campaign money and funds, but they aren't Secret Service. So people like Cory Booker, when he was running for president, he had Secret Service protection already because he was already an elected official. Kamala Harris, things like that already. When Joe Biden was running for president, obviously he already had Secret Service protection because he was former VP. So I truly did not believe they should have denied that request because he was receiving death threats and different things, and he should have been protected. He now has protection with that, which is good. So I will keep you guys updated with all of those things that are going on with that. Biden announced Wednesday that he had COVID-19, and he is working from home. And he said that he is feeling good. I don't think that is his major issue. You know what I mean? I think that he has a lot of other issues to deal with. And I think that this Trump assassination attempt is just going to really fuel his supporters. And people already weren't enthusiastic about Biden in the first place. So one of the reasons that Biden is having a hard time is because of Gaza. And I'm going to give you some Gaza updates right now, but I received a phone call from someone who wanted to talk to me about the election and Biden and getting people more involved and volunteering and interested. And she had asked me kind of what were the issues that I saw, what were the problems that I saw. And I said, it's Gaza, because people feel like Biden and the U.S. as a whole is complicit in a genocide against the Palestinian people. and we're just giving them money and money and money, and we're killing people. Biden hasn't had a red line. Anytime we think that a red line might have been crossed by Israel, he says no, and they just keep going. More and more people are being killed. Israeli forces killed 81 people and injured 198 people in two massacres against families in the last 72 hours. The Israeli army has killed 81 more Palestinians in an attack on the Gaza Strip. The death toll is now to 38,794 since October 7th, according to the health ministry. And the ministry also added that 89,166 people have been injured in the assaults that have happened since October 7th. There are many people who are still trapped underneath the rubble. The roads have been taken out, so there's no way for aid and support to get to these people. Their water is down 94% as a whole in Gaza area, and people are dying of starvation and dehydration. There are many now skin rashes and issues that are going on and going throughout these camps and where people are staying. They're contagious and they're spreading, and a lot of kids have them. There's no clean water to bathe, clean your wounds out, do any of these things, cook food, take care of kids. Women are using tent pieces and whatever fabrics they can find as sanitary products. There are women who are pregnant and giving birth and not able to do so in any hospital. There's still 10,000 people who are missing and who are currently under the rubble. Over the 9 months into this war, vast tracts of Gaza lie in ruin, and there's still a crippling blockade of food, clean water, and medicine. Israel stands accused of genocide, according to the International Court of Justice. And the latest ruling said that Tel Aviv needs to immediately halt military operations in the south of Rafah. And we are over 1 million Palestinians had sought refuge and things, and they're just being targeted. Hospitals, refugee camps, anywhere that they have told Palestinians to go, they have targeted those areas and then killed those people. So another thing that is happening was that pier that we built-ish, because, well, they're taking it down, and because it never went up at all, because incompetence, I don't know, willful neglect, but it never worked. So all the money that was spent on that was a waste of money, and now they're officially tearing that thing down. So President Biden has been diagnosed with COVID-19 on Wednesday, and we will see how that goes. Redbox, rest in peace. It is closing. So fun fact about Redbox for me, I've never used it, but when I got out the Navy in 2019 and I moved up here, I was so surprised that we still had red boxes in this area and people were still using them. Like I would see people at 7-Eleven going up, getting their DVDs and like going home on the weekend. And it was crazy to me because I don't own a DVD player and like don't have a way besides my laptop to play movies and DVDs like that. But I just thought that was really interesting that that is officially now shutting down. A lot of people, I was reading comments, thought it was already gone because they said that their areas didn't have red boxes in them at all. So I wanted to tell y'all about this crazy story, okay? So there are these owls, and they're called spotted owls, and the government has this wild, insane plan to save these owls. So spotted owls are potentially going extinct, and U.S. wildlife officials have embraced a plan to kill 500,000 barred owls, which are their cousins, but they're crowding out the owls in the habitat. So barred owls are bigger and easier to find it easier to live in certain places and certain habitats and can pretty much live everywhere. The spotted owls have specific places that they can live. So when these barred owls come in, they're taking over the habitat and basically squeezing out the spotted owls, which are already endangered. So the government wants to come in and deploy trained shooters in the West Coast forest. And these shootings would begin next spring. And the barred owls would be lured out of the woods with microphones that are gonna like be repeating owl calls and and like owl sounds, and then they are going to shoot them with shotguns. And the carcasses will be buried on site. That's crazy. I don't know. That just seems wild to me. That's the who came up with the plan. I want to know specifically who came up with the plan to just kill all the owls, and then not just kill like it's buried on site. We're just burying it right here. That is crazy. So, the last thing that I want to talk about is Boeing. You know, Boeing is my favorite thing to talk about because they are such a mess. Okay, so we still have astronauts in space. They're stuck in space because of Boeing. You might be like, Amber, what's Boeing? Well, they build aircrafts, and aircrafts also go to space. They build them terribly. So this specific situation, these poor astronauts, they've been there since June, Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams. It was supposed to be an 8-day trip to the Starliner. They were flying out there. They find out that Boeing used parts to build this spacecraft, used, okay? And the astronauts were supposed to come home June 14th, but they have not been able to because 5 out of the 28 thrusters that they were using to even get them up there went out. They have since got 4 of the thrusters to start working, kind of. Like, they're not working all the way, they're a little bit working. They're still there. There's no, like, set date. They did have a press conference last week where the astronauts were talking about being stuck up there, and they were trying to stay in good spirits, and they were asked if they believe that the spacecraft would be safe for them to return home in, and they said yes. Y'all, I would not. Can somebody else go get them? Like, is it a thing? Or have I seen Armageddon too many times? Is it a thing for like another spaceship to go rescue them and hook up to the Starlink up there and then for them to come back? Because I would not trust another Boeing spacecraft to bring me home and use the same one whose thrusters just stopped working during this whole entire thing. Like, that is really, really, really crazy. So I don't know. We will see how that's going, and I definitely will keep you guys updated. And so that's all I have for you guys today. I will show you some mugs. Look. We have new mugs for sale. They're $10. Just send me a DM. Make sure that you guys go subscribe to us wherever you listen to podcasts, and also subscribe to us on YouTube at Politics But Make It Fashion. We are on TikTok at Politics But Make It Fashion, and Instagram at Politics But Make It Fashion 1. And we will chat soon.